Okay, here's something embarrassing. This is my studio when I first started recording music. Yeah, a long time ago. Look at the acoustic treatment. I actually spread it around the room in a pattern because I thought it looked good. Yeah, I didn't know what I was doing. A lot has changed in recent years, and my new studio has a lot more and better acoustic treatment, but I didn't really put a lot of science into this either. So I thought, what would happen if I hire a professional acoustic treatment company? What would they recommend? Well, let's find out, and I'll let you hear the results. This is Steve. He's from Acoustical Solutions, a company that offered to measure my space and show me the results for free. Yeah. Nice of them for sure. I did end up buying some panels from them myself, and I'll add a link to their website below the video. Steve, thanks for coming by.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, Steve is here to take a look at the space. He's going to do some measurements. He's brought his special equipment, a mic. He's going to give us some graphs and tell us everything wrong with this area and help me fix the sound problems. Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Steve started the process by bringing in his speaker. So wait a second, why didn't he use my speakers?
There is a benefit if we've got a client that, hey, these are the speakers that I'm always going to use. Then there can be a benefit from that, especially if that's the position that they're always going to be in, that's the height they're always going to be in, they're never going to move. In today's, we talked about, that you are constantly changing what the speakers are.
Yeah.
So I'd rather get a consistent thing that I know what that's going to be.
He's able to position his speaker anywhere easily and also use the same speaker everywhere he does measurements. So he's used to comparing results across multiple locations without a variation in sound source. Okay, so the speaker emits a signal. If you've done a test at home using like SonarWorks or something like that, you've probably heard this before. And they've got a microphone, a special mic made for calibration. It records the sound at different locations in the room. And on his computer, the most important part, software that measures the loudness at different frequencies. And that's not all. It also measures the reverberation time. And that was one of my biggest problems. Reverb. By the way, Steve also measured the sound in my home theater. So yeah, if you're looking to improve the sound of your home theater, Acoustical Solutions does that too. I'll share the results he found later. So you see, I use this studio to mix music like most of you do, but I also record videos here. And that means whenever I have my microphone over me, the mic is picking up my voice speaking to you and also the echo in the room. And the reverb in this room has been one of the most frustrating things to deal with when I try to produce clean audio for these videos. This is something you might be dealing with as well if you're trying to get a clean vocal take, for example. All right, back to Steve. He moved that mic into multiple locations around the studio, and then we sat down to look at the results. Here's the actual conversation we had and the results.
So all the data points that we gathered are on these graphs now. And as I mentioned before, I like to use the waterfall because it's really easy to interpret. So even if you've never looked at one of these before, you'd be able to understand red's bad, yellow's okay, green's okay, blue's really good. So what we were looking at on this side.
How many points did you take? There was about 6, 7, or 8?
So I think we had about 17 different points that we took. So your particular space, a little bit bigger, and you had some very specific points that you were telling me you had issues with. So there were a couple extra points that we took that I normally wouldn't take. But it was good because if I know that you have an issue, I want to capture what's happening at that particular spot in the room. So what we noticed was, and you can probably hear it now, as soon as we walked into the space, everything tightened up, right?
Instant difference,
Yeah. So, which is really interesting because it's all open. So we would intuitively think it's going to be the same, but it's not. We've got a lot of absorption that's already in place here. We've got some on this side as well. We've also got, the carpet, which you have in that space as well. We've just got more absorption here. Yeah. So what we're seeing is there's less reflective points. So it's kind of the same thing. We still saw those low frequency kind of popping up at all the points. And we took, I think in this space, we took 9 points. So we did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 in rows of 3. So kind of left, right, and then in the center.
Yeah.
And what we noticed was in the center, we were pretty good. The further away from the center we saw those mid frequencies picking back up. So again, in this type of space, I would tell you that a cloud or two would probably be all that you would really need for this half of the room.
Okay.
That part of the room, we need to add more. We need to add more wall panels, but you don't have these wall panels up.
Right.
So that's making the big difference in that space.
So some wall panels, cloud in that area, and some bass traps. One of my main issues is, and that makes it kind of unique for my space, is that I'm talking to a camera, not just doing critical listening or mixing or anything like that. I'm also using the same space to talk to a camera in a different position, and you found some problems, right? Is this the chart we're looking at now?
So what we found was that across the board, when you're at that camera position, you've got some significant areas that we can improve on. So if we really look at this, the biggest peaks, those red peaks, and you can pinpoint exactly what frequency that is. So it's telling me right now like that is at 62 and at 116. But if we take that up to here and look at that, we can estimate that we're at about 125 decibels at this, somewhere between 55 and 60. Hertz is a big issue. So to me, that would indicate that we need some low absorption, so like a bass trap. Or maybe a 2 or 3 inch panel, or maybe just a 2-inch panel offset, like a cloud style, directly above where you're seated to control those low frequencies. In this space, for here and for here, what I would concentrate on would be those low frequencies. What we found interesting was that when we moved here to the center, kind of where you are while you're talking to your viewers, is that your mid frequencies and the high frequencies all kind of got out of control. My guess is that we've got some windows on this wall. We don't have really any absorption on this wall. And we've got, another wall that's offset a little bit further away. So there's more space for your sound waves to form. There's more space for them to bounce around and kind of become issues. So for this space, what I would tell you would be just standard 2-inch thick AlphaZorb fabric wrap panels above your display here. And then again, I would have a cloud in this area. So whether you're in the mix position or you're talking to somebody, it's under control.
What about these windows? Is there something that you'd recommend we do with the windows?
So windows are always a problem because they're non-porous. And anything non-porous is going to be highly reflective. So we don't really have a really good option. We could get you sound blankets, like our Privacy Shield sound blankets, or we could get you a fabric wrapped panel, like an AlphaZorb panel. I've had plenty of people that do that. That's a good option if you don't want to be able to look out your window. Because it's going to cover your window, and you can make the panels to these exact dimensions and you could pressure fit it in there, but you lose the view.
And if somebody didn't want to go to those lengths, would a simple curtain actually help
Absolutely,
out? By the way, one of the best things about working with Steve was that his solution wasn't, all right, take all this treatment down and buy a bunch of ours. He actually said to me, your treatment is solving a lot of problems already, and here are a few things you can do to improve it further. Use what you have first. Love that. Okay, so what are the results? What did I actually get? Well, I've got 2 new clouds above my mixing position, and it also covers the ceiling where I usually sit and record these videos. In addition to that, I've got 2 bass traps behind my mixing position. These are 2-inch panels that are installed about 2 inches from the wall. This helps to absorb some low-end frequencies to solve some of those problems in this space. We also covered the door leading to the bathroom on this side here. Sound waves were bouncing around in this little cubby, and you could hear this weird effect when sitting at the desk. I also purchased an extra 2 panels to position on this wall here. This mirror is not good at absorption, of course, so these panels will help some of the reverb in this area, especially when I film like this. You've probably seen this view in a number of my videos. So what does it sound like now? Well, so what made the biggest impact? Well, for me, it's the clouds. They've really helped minimize the reflections, and the sound in my mixing position is so much better. There's always room to grow over time, and if you're getting started, make do with what you can afford. Even blankets or inexpensive treatment can make a difference. And wow, the detail that Steve was able to uncover with my room problems was super helpful. If you can get a professional measurement done, it's definitely worth it. So what about the home theater? Well, we'll get to that in a sec. Before we do, if you're thinking about sharing your music with the world, you can do it yourself with DistroKid, the sponsor of today's video. DistroKid lets you upload your music to Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, Pandora, Amazon, pretty much everywhere. Best of all, they make it really easy. Just upload your track and some artwork, and they do the rest. DistroKid also collects earnings for you when your listeners play or purchase your music, and they help you market your music with tools built right in. A hyperfollow page lets you share your latest music with your friends on Facebook or anywhere you can share a link. And they can easily follow you to get notified of your upcoming releases. I've actually created 2 dedicated videos on DistroKid to give you all the details about how it works and how you get paid. You can watch those videos right here. And if you're ready to sign up, you can use the link below to get 7% off your first year of membership. So what about the home theater? Well, my home theater was in pretty good shape with the panels that were already on the wall, but the ceiling could be helped with some treatment. I may attempt to do this myself at some point. Ceiling panels are a bit harder to install yourself. Steve, thank you so much for coming by and doing this. I've learned so much, and I'm sure my audience is going to find some really interesting information and stuff. If they're interested in your services, where should they go?
So if they're interested in our services, they can go to our website at acousticalsolutions.com. They can also call us. We've got a toll-free number, 800-782-5742. And they can always either ask for me or any of our sales associates would be able to help them. We're all highly trained and can walk through spaces remotely a lot of times. And if it's more complex, we can come out and do a site visit like this one.
Okay, cool. Thanks so much to Steve and Acoustical Solutions for helping me measure my space and for the valuable advice. If you want to check out a tour of my entire studio where I go through all the gear, watch the video right here. Keep making the music you love, and I'll see you soon.